Right now, there is a bottle sitting on a shelf in your laundry room. Maybe it is a bright orange jug. Maybe it is a sleek pod container with a child lock lid. Maybe it is a pouch that says plant-based in soft green letters. You grabbed it because it smelled clean, because the label said free and clear, because it said gentle, because your mother used it, because it was on sale, because you assume that if it is sitting on a shelf at Target or Walmart, someone has already checked what is inside it. Here is the problem. Nobody checked. In the United States, laundry detergent is not regulated the way food is. It is not regulated the way drugs are. It is not even regulated the way cosmetics are about to be under new FDA rules. Laundry detergent falls under the Consumer Product Safety Commission and the EPA for certain antimicrobial claims. But here is what that means in practice. Manufacturers are not required by federal law to list every single ingredient on the label. They can say surfactants without telling you which ones. They can say fragrance without disclosing a single one of the dozens of chemical compounds hiding inside that one word. They can put a picture of a baby on the front and a lavender field on the cap and the word pure across the label. And none of that has a legal standard behind it. So when you stand in the detergent aisle and you see words like clean, gentle, natural, plant-derived, dermatologist-tested, or free and clear, you are not reading safety guarantees. You are reading marketing copy. And the gap between what that bottle promises and what that bottle actually contains is the subject of today's investigation. We are going to go through 7 brands that millions of Americans trust, and we are going to look at what is actually in them, what those ingredients have been linked to, and why the packaging earns more trust than the formula deserves. Then, at the end, we will cover 3 brands that are doing it better, and I will give you a simple checklist you can use the next time you are standing in that aisle trying to figure out which bottle to bring home. Let us start with the one almost everyone has used. Brand number 1, Tide is the best-selling laundry detergent in America. It has been for decades. Procter & Gamble has built Tide into something more than a product. It is practically a cultural institution. You see it in NFL commercials. You see it in disaster relief footage. You see it recommended by washing machine manufacturers. When people think clean clothes, they think Tide. That reputation is powerful, and it is also the reason Tide deserves the closest inspection. Let us look at what is actually in a standard bottle of Tide Original. The formula contains synthetic surfactants, which is expected, but it also contains optical brighteners. These are chemicals, often still being derivatives, that do not clean your clothes. They deposit a UV reactive coating on fabric fibers so that your clothes appear whiter and brighter under light. Your shirt is not cleaner. It is coated in a substance that tricks your eyes. These brighteners can remain on fabric through multiple washes, sit against your skin all day, and have been flagged by some dermatological research for potential skin irritation, particularly in people with sensitive skin or eczema. Then there is the fragrance. Tide Original is famous for its scent, but fragrance on a detergent label is a black box. Under current U.S. regulations, companies can group dozens of individual scent chemicals under the single word fragrance and disclose nothing further. Independent testing, including analysis published by researchers and advocacy groups, has identified compounds in popular Tide formulations that include known allergens and chemicals that have raised concern among toxicologists. Procter & Gamble, to their credit, has begun disclosing fragrance ingredients on their website through their Smart Label program. But the average shopper standing in Walmart is not pulling up a website. They are reading the bottle, and the bottle does not tell the full story. Tide also contains 1,4-dioxane as a trace contaminant. This is not an added ingredient. It is a byproduct of a manufacturing process called ethoxylation, which is used to make certain surfactants less harsh. The EPA classifies 1,4-dioxane as a likely human carcinogen. Now, the levels found in laundry detergent are generally low, and the exposure pathway through laundered clothing is indirect. This does not mean your Tide bottle is poisoning you. But it does mean that the clean promise on the front of the bottle is more complicated than it looks, especially when you consider that this is a product touching every piece of fabric your family wears, sleeps on, and dries their face with every single day. Tide is not dangerous in the way a recalled product is dangerous. but it is a product where the trust level is a 10 and the transparency level is closer to a 5. And for the #1 detergent in America, that gap matters. Brand number 2, Gain is also made by Procter & Gamble. And if Tide sells itself on cleaning power, Gain sells itself almost entirely on scent. The branding is built around fragrance. Smell is our superpower, their marketing says. The packaging is bright, tropical, playful. It feels fun. It feels fresh. It feels harmless. But if fragrance is their superpower, then fragrance disclosure is their weakness. Gain's formulas are loaded with synthetic fragrance compounds. When independent groups have analyzed heavily fragranced detergents like Gain, they have found volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, emitting from the laundered fabric. A well-known study out of the University of Washington, published in the journal Air Quality, Atmosphere and Health, tested fragrance laundry products vented through dryers and found that emissions included chemicals classified as hazardous air pollutants under federal law. Gain was among the product types examined in that line of research. That does not mean your dryer vent is a toxic smokestack, but it does mean that the scent you associate with clean laundry is not just a pleasant smell, it is a chemical event. And for households with asthma, allergies, chemical sensitivities, or young children, that chemical event is happening on sheets, pillowcases, underwear, and baby clothes around the clock. Gain also uses optical brighteners and synthetic dyes. The dye is there purely for visual marketing appeal in the bottle. It serves no cleaning function. You are literally paying for blue or green liquid that does nothing except look like a cleaning product. Gain is one of the most honest examples of a product that is almost entirely a fragrance delivery system dressed up as a cleaning product. The cleaning it does is adequate. The chemical load it adds to your fabric is the part that does not make the commercial. Brand number 3, Arm & Hammer. Clean. Burst. Arm & Hammer has a reputation built on baking soda. Simple. Traditional. The kind of thing your grandmother kept in the fridge. That heritage gives Arm & Hammer detergent an unearned halo of simplicity. People assume it is a more natural option. It is not. Arm & Hammer Clean. Burst contains many of the same synthetic surfactants, fragrances, and optical brighteners found in Tide and Gain. The baking soda component, while real, is a small part of a formula that is otherwise conventional. The Clean Burst fragrance is synthetic. The formula has been flagged by the Environmental Working Group's Guide to Healthy Cleaning with moderate concern ratings for some of its ingredients, including those related to skin irritation and respiratory sensitivity. The issue with Arm & Hammer is not that it is worse than Tide. It is that it trades on a perception of being better, simpler, more old-fashioned, when the ingredient list tells you it is playing the same game. The baking soda on the box is doing branding work. The synthetic surfactants and fragrance chemicals inside the bottle are doing the actual work. And the gap between those two stories is the kind of gap this channel exists to point out. Brand number 4, Persil Pro Clean. Persil is marketed as a premium detergent. It is made by Henkel, a German company, and it entered the U.S. market positioning itself as a step above Tide. The packaging is refined, the price is higher. Consumer Reports has rated it highly for stain removal, and many shoppers buy it specifically because they believe they are getting a superior, possibly cleaner product. On cleaning performance, Persil does well. That is supported by independent testing. But cleans well and is clean are two very different claims. Persil Pro Clean Original contains synthetic fragrances, optical brighteners, and a preservative system that includes methylisothiazolinone. This is worth pausing on. Methylisothiazolinone, sometimes abbreviated MI, is a synthetic preservative that has been the subject of significant concern in Europe. The European Scientific Committee on Consumer Safety issued opinions leading to restrictions on MI in leave-on cosmetic products due to its potential as a strong skin sensitizer. While laundry detergent is a rinse-off product and exposure levels differ, the presence of MI in a product marketed as premium raises a fair question. If you are paying more, should you not be getting fewer questionable ingredients, not the same ones in fancier packaging? Persil is a case study in what premium actually means in the detergent aisle. It often means better cleaning chemistry. It almost never means a cleaner ingredient profile. The premium price buys performance. It does not buy transparency or ingredient safety leadership. And if you switch to Persil because you thought you were moving to something gentler or purer, the formula does not support that assumption. Brand number 5, 7th generation, free and clear. Now we get to the one that will surprise people. 7th generation is the brand that health-conscious shoppers reach for. It is sold at Whole Foods. It says plant-based on the label. It uses earthy packaging. It is a certified B Corporation. It talks about sustainability, transparency, and being a company that cares. And compared to Tide or Gain, it genuinely is a step in a better direction. It discloses more ingredients. It avoids some of the worst offenders. The free and clear version skips dyes and added fragrances. So why is it on this list? Because 7th generation is now owned by Unilever. The same Unilever that makes Surf, Omo, and other conventional detergent brands around the world. That does not automatically change the formula, but it does change the incentive structure behind the brand. And more importantly, even the current formula is not as clean as the branding implies. 7th generation free and clear contains sodium lauryl sulfate, or SLS, as a primary surfactant. SLS is derived from plant sources in this case, which is technically accurate when they say plant-based. But SLS is also a well-known skin irritant. It is literally used in clinical dermatology studies as a standard irritant to test skin barrier function. A product can be plant-derived and still be irritating. Plant-based does not mean gentle. Poison ivy is plant-based. The product also uses enzymes, which are effective for cleaning, but can be respiratory sensitizers for some individuals, particularly those with occupational exposure. And while the free and clear version avoids fragrance, other 7th generation scented products use essential oil-based fragrances that still contain allergenic compounds like limonene and linalool, which are required to be disclosed in the European Union, but not always broken out clearly on US labels. 7th generation is better than most conventional detergents, but it is also the brand most likely to create a false sense of security. Shoppers buy it and stop reading labels entirely because they trust the brand identity. And that trust, while partially earned, is also partially a product of very effective green marketing. The brand is good. It is not as good as it looks. And for the price premium it charges, the gap between perception and formula is worth understanding. Brand number 6, Dreft. Dreft is the baby detergent. It has been marketed to new parents for over 80 years. The packaging is soft pink or purple. There is often an image of a baby or a onesie. Pediatricians' offices sometimes included in sample bags. The entire brand identity is built on one message. This is safe for your baby's skin. Let us look at what is actually in it. Dreft Stage 1 for newborns contains synthetic fragrances. It contains optical brighteners. It is made by Procter & Gamble using a conventional detergent base. If you compare the ingredient profile of Dreft to regular Tide, the differences are surprisingly small. Dreft is essentially a lightly fragranced conventional detergent in baby-safe packaging. The EWG's Guide to Healthy Cleaning has given Dreft a poor rating, flagging concerns about fragrance, optical brighteners, and ingredient disclosure. For a product specifically designed and marketed for newborn skin, the most sensitive skin in your entire household, the presence of undisclosed fragrance compounds and UV brightening coatings on fabric is a significant credibility problem. New parents are some of the most careful shoppers in any store. They read car seat reviews, they research cribs, they worry about every surface their baby touches, and then they wash every piece of clothing, every blanket, every burp cloth in a product they chose because of a pink bottle and a legacy brand name, without realizing that the formula inside does not live up to the promise on the outside. Dreft is not the gentle, minimal, baby-pure product it presents itself as. It is a conventional detergent with a baby marketing strategy. And that is one of the most frustrating gaps on this entire list. Brand number 7, Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day Laundry Detergent. Mrs. Meyer's is a brand that feels like a farmhouse kitchen. The label design is vintage. The scent names are botanical: lavender, basil, honeysuckle, lemon verbena. The company talks about garden-inspired ingredients. It feels artisanal. It feels wholesome. It feels like the kind of product a careful, thoughtful person would choose. And again, compared to the most conventional brands, Mrs. Meyer's does make some better choices. They disclose more, they avoid some of the harsher synthetics, they use some plant-derived surfactants, but Mrs. Meyer's laundry detergent still relies heavily on fragrance, even if that fragrance comes from essential oils. Essential oil-based fragrances are not automatically safe. They contain naturally occurring compounds like limonene, linalool, citronellol, and geraniol, all of which are recognized contact allergens. The European Union requires these to be individually listed on product labels when they exceed certain concentrations. In the US, they can be grouped under fragrance even when they are naturally derived. Mrs. Meyer's also contains methylisothiazolinone in some of its formulations. We talked about this preservative with Persil. The same concerns apply here, arguably more so, because Mrs. Meyer's is specifically marketed to consumers who are trying to avoid harsh chemicals. When you buy Mrs. Meyer's, you are buying an aesthetic of purity. The ingredient list, while better than Tide's, does not fully deliver on that aesthetic. Mrs. Meyer's is owned by S.C. Johnson, one of the largest household product companies in the world. The same company that makes Windex, Pledge, and Raid. Again, corporate ownership does not automatically change a formula, but it does contextualize the brand story. The farmhouse label is a design choice. The parent company is a chemical conglomerate. The product sits somewhere in between. Now, you have heard 7 brands. Some are worse than others. Some are genuinely misleading. Some are simply not as good as they look. But the common thread across all 7 is this. The front of the bottle is doing more work than the formula inside it. Every one of these products uses some combination of fragrance concealment, optical illusion chemistry, ingredient vagueness, or brand storytelling to earn a level of trust that the ingredient list does not fully support. So what do you actually buy instead? Better choice number 1, Molly Suds Unscented. Molly Suds is a small brand that has built a following among ingredient-conscious shoppers, and when you look at the formula, you can see why. The unscented version uses a short ingredient list. The primary cleaning agent is sodium carbonate, which is washing soda, one of the oldest and simplest laundry cleaning compounds that exists. It includes sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda. It uses a coconut oil-derived surfactant. It does not contain optical brighteners, synthetic fragrances, SLS, parabens, or formaldehyde releasers. Molly Suds is transparent about every ingredient. The full list is on the package and on their website. There is no fragrance black box. There is no hidden preservative system. It is one of the few detergents where what you see on the label is genuinely what you get in the bottle. The trade-off is that it may not hit as hard on heavy stains as a Tide or Persil. For everyday laundry, towels, sheets, kids' clothes, workout gear, it performs well. For serious stain challenges, you may need a pretreatment. But that is an honest trade-off. You are choosing a genuinely cleaner formula and giving up some of the extreme stain-fighting power that comes from harsher chemistry. For most households, that is a trade worth making. Better choice number 2, Branch Basics. Concentrate. Branch Basics takes a different approach. It is a concentrate system. You buy 1 bottle of concentrate and dilute it yourself for different uses, including laundry. The ingredient list is remarkably short. Purified water, diesel glucoside, cocoa glucoside, Canadian balsam fir, chamomile, and a few other plant-derived compounds. That is essentially it. Diesel glucoside and cocoa glucoside are among the mildest surfactants available. They are sugar-derived, biodegradable, and generally well tolerated by sensitive skin. Branch Basics avoids fragrances entirely, synthetic or natural. No essential oils, no optical brighteners, no enzymes, no preservatives like MI. The company is also unusually transparent. They explain not just what is in the product, but why each ingredient is there and what they specifically chose to leave out. They have been endorsed by various integrative health practitioners, though the most important endorsement is the ingredient list itself. The drawback is price. Branch Basics is more expensive per load than conventional detergent, even when you factor in the concentrate system. And the cleaning power, while solid for daily laundry, is not going to match a heavily engineered formula like Persil on tough grease or set-in stains. For families with chemical sensitivities, eczema, allergies, or newborns, Branch Basics is one of the most genuinely clean options available. For families on a tight budget doing heavy-duty laundry, it may not be practical as an everyday choice. That is a fair and honest assessment. Better choice number 3, Dirty Labs Bioenzyme. Laundry detergent. Dirty Labs is a newer brand that is trying to solve the performance problem that plagues many clean detergents. Their approach uses bioenzyme technology and plant-based surfactants to deliver stronger cleaning power without relying on the conventional chemical toolkit. The ingredient list is transparent and relatively short. They avoid optical brighteners, synthetic fragrances, SLS, SLES, parabens, phosphates, chlorine bleach, and 1,4-dioxane. They use a combination of enzymes and plant-derived surfactants that are designed to break down stains effectively at lower temperatures, which also has an energy-saving benefit. Dirty Labs has earned an EPA Safer Choice certification on some of its products. This is worth understanding. The EPA Safer Choice program reviews every ingredient in a product against specific health and environmental criteria. It is not a perfect certification, and it does not mean zero risk, but it is one of the more rigorous third-party standards available for household cleaning products. It is significantly more meaningful than vague label claims like natural or eco-friendly, which have no regulatory definition. The trade-off with Dirty Labs is similar to the others. It is more expensive than conventional detergent, and availability can be limited depending on where you shop. But for shoppers who want both cleaning performance and a genuinely cleaner ingredient profile, Dirty Labs is one of the strongest options currently on the market. Your laundry detergent checklist. Before I let you go, here is what to check the next time you are standing in that aisle. 1. Look for the word fragrance on the ingredient list. If it is there, and there is no further breakdown of what compounds are included, you are looking at a black box. That single word can represent dozens of undisclosed chemicals. If the brand does not break it down on the bottle or on their website, that is a transparency failure. 2. Check for optical brighteners. They may be listed as brightening agent, still bean derivative, disodium distyryl biphenyl disulfonate, or similar names. These do not clean, they coat. If your clothes glow under a black light, that is not cleanliness. That is a chemical coating. 3. Look for methylisothiazolinone or methylchloroisothiazolinone. These preservatives have been restricted in leave-on products in the EU due to sensitization concerns. They do not belong in a product marketed as gentle or clean. 4. Ignore the front of the bottle. Words like natural, clean, pure, gentle, plant-based, and dermatologist-tested have no binding legal definition on laundry detergent. The only thing that tells you what is in the product is the ingredient list. Read it every time. 5. Check for EPA Safer Choice certification. It is not a guarantee of perfection, but it means every ingredient has been reviewed against health and environmental criteria. It is one of the few certifications in this category that actually has teeth. 6. Consider the concentrate. Concentrated formulas and dilution systems often mean fewer filler ingredients, less plastic, and more control over what you are using per load. They also tend to come from brands that are more ingredient transparent. 7. Match the product to your household. If you have a baby, someone with eczema, asthma, or chemical sensitivities, the stakes are higher. A product that is fine for most people might not be fine for your household. In those cases, go for the shortest, most transparent ingredient list you can find and skip fragrance entirely, including essential oil-based fragrance. 8. Check your exact product. Brands have multiple formulas. 7th generation Free and Clear is a different product than 7th generation Lavender. Tide Free and Gentle is a different product than Tide Original. The brand name is not the product. The specific formula is the product. Always check the specific bottle you are buying. Here is the big picture. The laundry detergent industry is built on a simple illusion. The idea that a strong scent means clean clothes. It does not. Scent is a chemical addition. It is applied to your fabric and then pressed against your skin for hours. The trillion-dollar insight that companies like Procter & Gamble figured out decades ago is that if they make the scent strong enough and pleasant enough, you will associate it with cleanliness, and you will never flip the bottle over and read what is actually creating that scent. The brands on the skip list are not all equally bad. Some are worse than others. Some are just overpriced for what they deliver. Some are genuinely misleading. But all of them benefit from a system where the front label does the selling and the ingredient list stays small, vague, and unread. You do not have to throw out every bottle in your laundry room today. But you should flip the one you have over tonight. Read it. Look up the ingredients you do not recognize. Check the EWG guide to healthy cleaning. See how your product scores. And the next time you are in the aisle, reach for the bottle that tells you the most, not the one that smells the best. If you found this useful, share it with someone who still grabs the same jug every month without thinking about it. Drop a comment and tell me what brand you have been using and whether you are going to switch. And if you want to see what we found when we investigated other household products most families never question, that video is right here. I will see you in the next one.